All right, let's discuss how you might integrate personal experience using still the sandwiching method. You do not have to format your information in quotation marks as you integrate it into your paper, but you do have to prep it and follow up your personal experience as if you are integrating a quote. So I'm going to read this and then give you some analysis. In a section of the article, Duckworth and Gross begin the discussion with self control, suggesting that regulating your attention, emotion, and behavior is necessary for achieving everyday success. They briefly introduce self control in terms of understanding it as a skill required to resolve a conflict between two possible action tendencies. The skill needed is adjudication, the ability to judge between an alluring goal and a more valued goal. What they suggest is something I have found in my personal life to be a struggle. I have had trouble making decisions between watching television and completing my homework. I know that I need to do my homework, but I must watch my favorite show. Of course, once I watch it, I feel bad that I didn't complete my homework. I feel like if I can develop a strategy, this would help me manage my time better. Duckworth and Gross suggest that deploying an array of cognitive and behavioral strategies in advance will help me to confront temptations. So, the only way that you can truly know how to integrate and then follow up a personal experience is to basically know the source and know how the source know what parts of the source can support your your goal, right? So we begin with Duckworth and Gross, and remember that whenever we are referencing Duckworth and Gross throughout the rest of the work, we don't need the full title of the names or the full names of the authors or the full titling of the work. But we do begin this sentence with Duckworth and Gross and what they discuss about self control. And the information that you see here is closely related to the initial word, but it's not. So it functions more along the lines as a paraphrase. So therefore, we need a page number at the end because we begin at the sentence. We do have a direct quote from the source about adopting self-control as understanding that it is a conflict between two possible action tendencies, and we are leaving out parts of the quote, so therefore we are using ellipses here. And so, even though we did not begin the quote with the author's names, we need to make sure that we end with their names. And remember, it is Duckworth and Gross. You don't need a comma, you don't need a P period. 320, it is for MLA purposes, Duckworth and Gross 320. So then, when there is a conflict between two action tendencies, the authors suggest that people need to adjudicate their decisions, that the skill needed is adjudication, which is an ability to judge between an alluring goal and a more valued goal. These are terms that are specific to the work, and so therefore we need a citation, and how we cite at the end uh, is predicated on what we do at the beginning of the sentence line. Okay. So we're going to format alluring goal and valued goal because we don't speak like that in everyday speech. We don't speak like that every day. We don't go around saying I have this alluring goal and saying I have a valued goal and I'm trying to decide between my alluring goal and my valued goal. We don't speak like that every day. So because we know it is specific to the work, we need to format in quotation marks. So we have done enough of the setup in terms of offering the pre sentences or the prep information for our personal experience. So now we're getting into the personal experience, and we know that we are beginning the personal experience because we're using first person I. And this is our discussion from the I point of view, what our personal experiences are. And so our personal experiences are just a life struggle, managing time, making decisions between watching television, completing my homework. I know I need to do my homework, but I want to watch my favorite show. And then once I watch it, I regret it. And then I'm saying I have an understanding about who I am as an individual, that I'm looking for a solution, in this case, a strategy. So then you go back to the main source and figure out what do the authors offer as a possible solution for the individual, for the reader, right? So once I finish outlining my personal experience using the personal uh, pronoun I need to return to third person. I started in third person, I switch to first person, and I need to return to third person. And third person is just essentially returning to the author's names or just removing the personal pronoun I. So I said to myself, okay, I know I have a problem. This is my personal experiences. I know I have a problem with self control and controlling my momentary impulses by following an alluring goal and not taking the time to really understand the valued goal. And so, if I could develop a strategy, meaning if I could find a solution that would help me, so then again, you go back into the source. What do the authors suggest about how to reconcile or resolve your issues with controlling your momentary impulses? And so, Duckworth and Gross suggest that deploying an array of cognitive and behavioral strategies in advance will help me to confront temptations. And so, these are words that are specific to the author's text, and therefore you should quote that information. There's much more here within the author's text that is missing, but for here, that's why you see that there is an ellipses here, because there's actually more information. However, for what we want to accomplish, this is sufficient. Okay. So remember, when you are sandwiching, it's always a prep statement, one or two statements, then the integrated quote, and then a follow-up statement, and then further analysis. In this particular example, we are integrating personal experience and connecting it to the main topic of self-control and grit. So we need to set up our personal experiences, what the authors say about self-control, because our personal experience is going to be about self-control or struggle with self-control. And once we do that, we integrate our personal experience. We don't need quotation marks, of course. We don't need to quote ourselves. And then we follow up with what the authors suggest about how to reconcile or resolve uh, issues with self control and controlling momentary impulses. So it's just essentially deploying an array of cognitive and behavior strategies, meaning that if you know that once you get home, you're going to struggle to do the thing that you want to do, it might be better to stay where you are, work out maybe like an hour of something that you want to do before you go home, and then at least you have put forth some effort to the thing that you want to do, and you're not procrastinating. Okay, so this is integrating personal experience. Notice that there's setup, and then the integration of the person experience in first person pronoun I, and then a return to third person Duckworth and Gross.